Take 3. Good afternoon. So the first one, I was a bit tongue-tied because it was clearly in the thick of Mercury retrograde and it's gorgeous, isn't it? The second one, I got hijacked by an over-enthusiastic puppy. Third time lucky. Shall we run, witches? Right, I want to talk to you about common misconceptions, superstitions and fear. Now, yesterday was Friday the 13th and I was walking the dog yesterday, and you're walking and you do a lot of thinking, don't you? Sometimes it's just random stuff and sometimes it's a little deeper. But all told, it's a good time for reflection and processing. And I was thinking, it's Friday the 13th all around the world, in every single country. It doesn't matter what the time zone is. Whenever it hits Friday, it's the 13th. Oh, that's a bit cool. And although I've known this forever because it's just a basic fact, I was having a bit of a moment on it. But nevertheless, it did get me thinking. And thinking about the video I did a couple of days previous about Mercury retrograde and how people automatically start getting scared, start getting paranoid, and start living in a vibration of fear. Which is a good start, really, isn't it? On Friday the 13th as well. And if you look at these origins and you think about it, and like the superstitions, there's like, I live in a small village, so if someone's doing work on a building, the only way you're probably going to avoid their ladder is by stepping into the road, into traffic. I don't sod all about with that. A lot of these superstitions come from archaic organised religions. I'm not going to get offensive with anybody, but all I'm saying is, if you live authentically and trust your guidance from HQ, okay, you're going to be all right, okay? If you know that you're going to be all right, you know you. Same with Friday the 13th, which I think was some quite conservative male individual, quite religious, that kicked this all off. It's got nothing to do with it at all. 13 is an incredible lucky number. It's basically everything in this life is what you make it, isn't it? So yesterday passed without incident, apart from the biblical rain that we've been having all week. But if you live in a county as pretty as I do, you have to take the rough with the smooth bit, and sometimes we grow our own fins. But I digress. So Mercury retrograde can be different energy, and it all depends how you approach it. Okay, hello. No, leave my tea alone. You can't drink it. It's too hot. You're going to hurt yourself. She's persistent, this dog. Teething, so really hungry at the moment. It doesn't matter if you come this way. Look, say hi. Look, say hi. You're not hijacking my video again. Mercury retrograde. Shall we carry on? Hello, back again. I knew we weren't going to get away with that. She needed a wee and now she needs to eat. We're on take 3, aren't we? Anyway, I'm going to get on. So things are basically what you make them. Superstitions are how much power you can give them, and curses and hexes are the same thing. The main base and foundation, I think, is how you feel about yourself. The universe is a big old boomerang. And what you throw out does come back. Say it however you want, but no matter what this says, the universe understands your energy, okay, and your vibration. Doesn't matter what language you speak, doesn't matter how you say it, doesn't matter how you polish that turd, yeah? It understands your vibration. If you come from a good, kind energy, the universe will respond and will reward you and guide you accordingly. And it's definitely Mercury retrograde, isn't it? Responding to, I can't even think about what I'm saying. This is a joke. Oh, God. I can't, no, listen, I've really got to keep going with this because I cannot do a take 4. How you feel about something and your own perception of how you feel about it counts. Knowing and being assured of yourself and understanding your own dominion and your own power is absolutely key. She's back on the train. I had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and we were yibber-yabbering about the world, and we spoke about how in our later stage of life, we've got comfortable with ourselves. And I think in one of my hurting v healing videos, I was talking about how when we hurt ourselves, or if we're hurt in some respect, how if we're unhealed and we're not a little bit more on in the shadow work journey, we tend to hurt ourselves further, be it drink, drugs, one night stands. They do much, much, much more harm than good. I can actually really happily say now that I've got to a stage in my life where I haven't done anything like that for over 10 years. I mean, I've had a drink for nearly 10 years and all the rest of that, decades. It gets to the point where, like I said, if you broke your leg, I'll just do a quick recap on that. If you broke your leg, you wouldn't then take a sledgy to it and smash it more because it hurts, would you? You take care of yourself. You get yourself on that sofa, get that old leg in plaster, let everyone fanny around you and nurture yourself. So this is the same thing. So when you're going through a period of unease, a period of sorrow or bereavement or upset or heartbreak or whatever it may be, for whatever reason, you get to a stage in your life where you nurture yourself rather than further harm yourself, okay? You've just been out. We're not going out again. Those bells are a curse sometimes. I've been teaching my puppy to tell me to go to the toilet with bells. And it took bloody weeks for him to get it, but now they tap them and then look. They don't fold their paws, obviously, but they tap and put their hand and just look at me. We're getting there. One day that dog will speak and I'll have a heart attack. I'm not kidding. Anyway, I digress again. So I was talking about how talking to my friend about how we get to a stage in our lives where we're comfortable with ourselves and we're all right. And it doesn't matter what thoughts are pointed out to us about us by other people, we take them on board, we process them and we work with them. And sometimes there are individuals in our life that seem to like to point out faults, perceived faults about us in abundance. And we spoke about how that's more of a reflection on that person sometimes, but it's always interesting to pay heed to what's said, okay? Because, you do have to pay heed to what's said, because obviously you see yourself differently to how everybody else sees you. But there are times in this life when there are people that will be continually critical of you. And whilst nobody is blameless in a situation, sometimes it's a large reflection on how they're feeling about themselves inside. So I had a conversation with one of my children, I think it was yesterday as well, about bullies and how generally bullies have got issues of their own that you don't know about, and it's not an excuse and it's not a justification and it's not a free ticket to getting away with that abhorrent behaviour, but it is by way of an explanation. So those of us that have taken us to dark places, those of us that have been abusive to us, those that have been just downright unkind and hurtful, generally have issues of their own that they need to address. And this is where I talk about trying to be nurturing rather than harming yourself further. So the wonderful liberating thing we were talking about was getting to that age where we understand the quirky things about us, we understand the suspect things about us and the funny things, but above all we start to really celebrate the good things about us. And that's something that I don't think you can teach any adolescent or any young person. I think you can tell them about it, but I do think you need to live it and understand it and feel it. And holding your own dominion is something quite priceless. They talk about, there's this thing in the press like the Holy Grail and this, that and the other, and what is the meaning of life? And I don't know the meaning of life, and I'm still sometimes question, like if I'm driving in traffic, I'm listening to a podcast or something, and they say, and your purpose in life is, and I often say out loud, I'm nearly 50 and I still don't know my bloody purpose in life. What is that? So, but I think understanding yourself, cutting yourself slack and working with yourself, learning to laugh at yourself, forgiving yourself when it goes shits up, tits up, but learning from every experience you encounter, good, bad or ugly. But once you learn about yourself and you accept yourself, you've then got the next elevation to go, haven't you? And that's liking that. That's liking yourself. You can understand yourself, but you might not always like yourself. But that's the next stage in your elevation, isn't it? So, bit of a random one with branches all over the gaff at the moment. That's generally me by nature, by way. That's something that some people I know find a little bit difficult to process. Some people downright have told me it's a pain in the ass, and some people find it quite quirky and very amusing. But it is me, 68,000 tabs open at once, and sometimes there's some I've even forgotten that were open from years back. Never a dull moment, never bored. Sleep is very entertaining. But it's understanding more about yourself as you get older, accepting yourself and working with things that a few years ago you felt a way about and now you feel differently. And then there are some things that years pass and you feel exactly the same about it. It's like when you watch films when you're younger in it and you thought they were the best film ever, and then you watch them later on a few years down the line or a couple of decades down the line when you're not a kid anymore and it's crap and it's a bit of an anticlimax. But then again, there's always the odd couple, isn't there, where you watch and you think, nah, that's still a fine film, that's a classic film, that's the best film ever. And it's just an example. And so things that you thought were good, you still know are good, are consistently good. And you know, this isn't linear, is it? Our development and our growth and our experiences, everything's different. But what is pertinent, I think, here, it's just a bit of a ramble, really. I'm not leading anywhere or trying to teach you anything. I just want to speak it out loud. I don't really see too many people, so I don't really generally have many people to talk to. So it's good sometimes just to log on and yabble. Whoever wants to watch it, you can click off and press stop whenever I drive you mad. But there you go. That's your call. It's understanding your way, understanding your own thought processes, and being your own best friend. Really liking yourself. When you spend a lot of time alone, you have a lot of time to think. And I do. So I have a lot of time to think. And the dog doesn't speak back yet, but I'm working on it. But what I want to say is when you understand yourself and you accept yourself and then you like yourself and then you come out of a very difficult period in your life and you get to a certain level where you feel a lightness and it's not chaotic, it's not fraught, it's not filled with conflict, it's not filled either with lots of excitement. Sometimes it can be extraordinarily mundane, which is currently the case. But what it is I think it's finding your peace. So that's my dog. Again, clearly it's not me. With a rubber duck. Oh God, and now she's going to kill it. I can hear her growling. But I think what it is finding your peace, being okay with it and liking it. But when you know that you wake up each morning and you're excited for the day ahead, even though it's just a Wednesday and all you've got in your mind's eye is a school runs and a couple of bills and emails to answer, but you're still excited for that because of anything else that could possibly occur, surrendering to the universe, understanding the processes, and know that you can take on and cope with and deal with royally with anything that gets thrown at you. It's that self-assurance of yourself, that confidence of yourself, your surrender to all things that may or may not happen that day, being okay with it, being quite excited by the unknown. That's when you're finding peace, and that's your next elevation to healing. And I will expand on that at some point. But being in that flow state, being in that peaceful state, that acceptance state, but that state of love for yourself and all that may or may not happen is a pretty stellar energy to be in, and that's cool. So I just thought I'd get that out there. I don't know quite why I felt the need to share that, but I did. And I hope that maybe some of you can resonate with that. And maybe that's something that you're striving for. Maybe that's something that you've achieved. And maybe that's something that you're living quite beautifully in your own peace and your own self-love. When you haven't got a dog trying to kill a furry rabbit or a rubber duck. But there you go. She's a nice dog, really. But I just want to share that. So anything else I get come, I'll get on here. But tarot readings, oracle readings are in the process. I'm doing a lot of mental and spiritual and emotional evaluation at the moment, and it's quite extensive shadow work. And so I want the energies to be completely right and correct for you. And I want to breathe some real life into this channel. But I've got quite a lot of spiritual work here to do. And once that's levelled out a bit and I'm more comfortable with my foundation, then we'll ride again. Okay, so guys, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much if you're still here and listening. Have yourselves a blessed weekend. Take care, be good, stay safe. Know that I love you all very much and I appreciate your support, your kindness. Like, share and subscribe me. Get me out far and wide, please. It'd be fantastic. You're a wonderful community as you are. So thank you, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers guys, see ya.